Sweet. Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be making something in the style of Odd Mob.
People in the back, give 'em up.
First thing we want to start off is with a kick. If you want to keep things simple, a 909 kick will always be the choice that you want. If you don't know what to pick, this is because the 909 drum machine made by Roland that was released quite some time ago is a very iconic one. The kick in it has been used by a lot of great artists, and to this day, it's still used to create hit records. Okay, so we can go with that to keep things simple, or you can go with other kicks. So I'm going to go with this BD2 kick. From there, I want to create the bass. Now, since we're doing more of an Odd Mob thing, he has this very like offbeat bass track for his remix of Sean Paul's Get Busy. So we're going to go with that. So to make that bass, we can use Serum, which is the most popular synth out there. And we can program something in. So let's see. We want to pick a key. And the key we pick is very important. The lower the key, the grittier the bass will be. The higher the key, the boomier, the more subbier the bass will be. Okay, so let's go with D sharp, just because I love that scale. It's very gritty. And from there, we're just going to set up something like this with our bass. We're just going to hit play. Okay. Now let's lower the volume down a bit. Now, we're going to go down to optimal octave. Now I always choose C3 to C4. That means that in Serum, I will always be -3 on the octave range. Makes it easy for me to remember. From there, I'm going to pick a basic shape, which I always recommend if you're starting out and you want to learn to make your own bass lines, you always stay with the basic shapes. You will see a lot of presets out there made by people that sound thin because they overcomplicate the bass. The reason we don't want more than one wave in a bass and we don't want to overdo the bass is because when we put more than one wave, now we have two waves that are going to be moving from left to right. And through that, as you start to put more and more, there's always a chance that they can get inverted and they can phase each other out. And when it comes to bass and dance music as a whole, it doesn't matter the genre. You always want a strong low end. Okay. So we'll always one voice, keep it simple. If you want to get creative and get more unique and do crazier bass lines, then you can start to experiment later on. But if you want to nail the bass, is the best way to do it. From here, let's go with a saw, and we're going to use a low-pass filter. Should be there by default. Low-pass filter will help us shape the bass as we remove the high end out. This allows us to have that cut so that we are presented with the opportunity to open it back up with an envelope, which is what we would call a modulator. And modulators will usually move knobs for us. It will change stuff. We're going to put it there. We're going to click pull. And now we get an offbeat bass. Now, the Odd Mob remix, he does this. Traditional offbeat basses will do this. And the theory is that the kick will cover that first spot and then the bass comes in. Like so. Now, let's go to the top left and go to a faster BPM, like 130. And now we get something groovier. Now let's bring the volume up. And it's that simple, okay? So, and again, here, if you want, let's say you don't like your basses to be blobby, then you can lower the sustain down. And with decay, get it there, bring it back up, and feel it out. Around there. So it still has like breathes and so. Like I said before, Odd Mob does this. And you'll see, because once we add the sidechain, we get more of a blop bass on it, the constant low end on the bass. So now we can use kickstart or we can use a compressor to do this. The theory behind sidechaining of a bass is that the kick takes the low end portion of the song and the bass does as well. Now here we have the kick. And you can see bass and kick, this red outline is where they're usually going to coincide at heavy amplitudes, heavy volumes. And this means that they will start to phase out. Similar to keeping your bass simple. When you have tones that are very similar, they can always phase out. And the low end sounds the same. It's usually, represented by sine waves. So if one sine's going up and the other one's going down, that's what we would call being out of phase. And if they are exactly total opposites, that's what we would call being inverted in phase. And if they are inverted, they usually cancel each other out. So this is why it's so important to understand sidechain. It's just not the effect. You need to understand the concept. And while it's so basic, a lot of people don't understand that. And it's very important because once you get that, then everything starts to become apparent that the kick, the length of a kick matters. The bigger the kick, the shorter your bass is going to shine. So sidechain, audio from the kick. Keep it simple. Okay. We're going to go peak mode. Peak mode makes it so that we look at the peaks of the signal coming in rather than the average loudness or RMS. And there we go. Usually you can leave everything the same here, but if you want to get, let's say fancy with this, you can EQ out the kick before it reaches the threshold. This is what the compressor is looking at. Okay, from there, we have to put the stuff we always know a beat should have. And that will always be an open hat, which I will abbreviate with OH, and a clap. Okay. Now, I'm a huge believer, right, that samples will make you sound better if you have the right samples. I have a sample pack company, so you can have the opinion that I'm biased, but samples, the ingredients you use are very important. So when it comes to the open hat and the clap, those are some of the more important elements in a song. And you always want to make sure you're picking the right one. I always tell my students, pick one that sounds good out of the get-go. For instance, I like these kind of claps. They just sound more tasteful to me, but someone else might like less saturated claps. Point is, when you pick your clap, it needs to be 90 to 100% of the way there. And if you're going to pick a clap from a loop, isolate the clap. Don't be the guy with a bunch of loops and sounding like, horrible. A lot of people will hear clutterness and think full, and a lot of people that are learning music will hear that and go, that's good. But that's actually horrible, because as you start to get better at music, you realize space is limited. And when you clutter up, the ideas don't shine or sound how you want them to. So those are bad habits you don't not want to get into if your Team Evil sounds. From there, let's put the clap on the 2 and the 4. Okay, so we go C3 range for this. So we just go here. E3, now we're going to C3 range. Yeah, I don't even, because of our key, isn't it? It's so weird. CX3, C sharp, B. I'm all confused, man. I'm going to get rid of this. Just give me the... Okay, and then we're just going to do that. Keep it simple. Just lower the volume. From here, I like to use simpler because if I need to shape this better, I can. It's almost like we're compressing. We're going to go one-shot mode, which turns us into one-shot mode. You hit the note, it plays out, and then we're going to use the fade out. So that's the reason we use one-shot mode a lot, is to fade drums out. Shape it. There we go. Somewhere like that. Nice and sweet. From there, the open hat. And again, want to keep this simple, you can use standard 909 drums, which in Ableton you will find. Here, yeah, something like the Silvertron would be dope. Silver in a lot of my packs just means 909. I have an RD9 right somewhere around here that I use for basic stock drums that sound good. A lot of people like them. The problem with stock drums is you just sound very stock, generic with them, which is not bad. Again, that just means that they're generic sounding. Everyone knows the sound. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's add some reverb to that open hat to create a sense of atmosphere. And to the clap, let's add a reverb that is small. And we're going to apply pre-delay to the clap because this clap lasts about, as you can see, 100 milliseconds, right? So I want the reverb to come in somewhere halfway there. So we're going to put the pre-delay at 50 so that the reverb doesn't smudge our transient. And then we're going to lower decay and lower the size. The lower the size, the more upfront the reverb is going to be, more metallic, more ravey. Okay, so from here, we have the basis of a song, and we want to start creating call and response with synths. The Odd Mob style of dance music, in fact, most dance music, will revolve around call and response with heavy sound design synths. Unless you're making more like groovy stuff, which is a bunch of loops, then this will require a bit more of sound design knowledge, okay? So, we have the bass going. We're going to use Serum. We can use anything. If you have Ableton, by the way, go through the presets. In fact, let's do that for the first one. I'm just going to go through patches like this, and we're going to go with that. Now, we are in the key of D sharp. So from here, I want to create call and response. So maybe my first shot might be something like this. Let's put it down low. Okay. And now let's set the length of that to 4. And now I'm going to have this 4-bar loop that I'm working on. And I'm going to have to fill it up. So that's my first shot. It's somewhat decent. And we're going to use an EQ 8. Cut out the lows because remember, the kick and the bass already have all of this covered. Okay. In fact, you can use the Ableton EQ 8, but for this tutorial, I'm going to be using the Pro Q3 just so that I can show you visual representations of, you know, where sounds fight and what I mean when I'm talking about space, because a lot of people make music, but they do not care about space. And when you're using Pro Q3, if you want this feature, you have to make sure all of the ones you're opening up are the same VST3 or VST1 format. I think I ended up deleting it, so let's bring it back here. Put it on the bass, put it on the kick. Okay, so check it, right? So here we have the bass. The bass is covering this section already. So this bass, new one that we have, we need to chop out a lot of the lows. And there's going to be here where the bass starts to kind of fall on ours. Now, if you want your sound, this new sound I've added to really take that over, then you have to reprogram your bass to not open all the way. So let's do it. Like so. Maybe a little more. There we go. And now we have more space to allow this lead to breathe there if we want that. Okay. So that's our first shot. From the duplicate that, we still have this. We can zero this out if you want a visual representation of it. I know that we have that shot there, so I'm just going to get rid of it. But those are some things you can do. I'll duplicate that just so we can have that. From there, let's delete this. And now we can keep looking. So one of the big things that I want you to focus on as a music producer is note when to outsource stuff. Okay. So for instance, I've been working on a lot of my own music. And if you guys want to follow that, I have an Instagram called Sam World Music. And I'm going to have a lot of house music there that's in my style. That explains this shirt. When I work on music, I am not thinking sound design a lot. Unless I can't find what I need, or I know what I want, or I'm going through a bunch of presets. Okay. So making sounds during the writing process, unless it's dubstep and drum and bass, I don't recommend it. So there's various options you have to build this out. The first one is presets, right? You can go through them, and presets, the pros of them is that you can manipulate them. You can, you know, rework them. If you find something inspiration and you're like, oh, I should do this instead, you can do that, or you can use it as is. The other thing you have access to are loops. Loops are dope because, for instance, here, if I have this idea, I can easily find something in a different key. For instance, let's say this. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to put it in the same key. This is in G minor. I'm going to go down to D sharp or up to D sharp. Now, doing this process of me pitching up and pitching down, there's some degradation and some artifacts that will appear that might be tasteful, that you might like. And that's the part of synth loops. And there's a reason, that's the reason why I've been making a lot more synth loops for my sample packs, is because I've been working on music for myself a lot more heavily now, and I realize the power in that. It adds so much. For instance, here we have this simple loop, Tengo un trio 3. In fact, there's another one in here that I kind of want to use instead. That's fucking insane. Yeah, this one. I love that. Now, it's in C sharp, so we're going to go 12. We're in C sharp. Now we're one semitone. That's D. One more. And now let's play it. Here. Lower the volume. Oh, Lord. What? So let's see. We put it up. Right? So let's go for... Yep, complex. So you can see it has a different vibe. That actually sounds kind of cool. But let's see if we go another 12 up. That's an octave. So we go 26. Now let's go back to beats. Which is cool, but 14 would have been better. So it's cool. This one's a dope loop, but now I can go into envelopes mode and I go clip. And I can remove the clip gain when that sound plays, and then I can use this for little shots. And now in your head, you might hear a pattern. Maybe here we can add. There we go. Okay, so let's do that. And let's keep this high. 26. Okay, we'll use that as kind of like a passing note. What that means is it leads us into what's gonna come. And now let's use a lead now. So now we can go serum. But again, know your tools, know what you have available to you, and don't have pride. You know, pride is what honestly made me a worse producer, because I overcomplicated a lot of stuff. And what I mean by that is I have to make my own melodies. I have to make my own presets. I have to make everything myself, and everything has to come from me. You know, like, and that kind of makes music no fun, because when you're making everything from scratch, you lose the flow of creativity. So again, keep that in mind. Let's go with the Seaver Dominator for this. Again, you can use the stock Serum leads and stuff. They work just as well. So let's see. I'm going to record that in, hit record here, and let's get it. I'm going to hit play. Now we have this. We can quantize by doing a command or control, or I don't know what it is in Windows. I'm sorry. I love you guys. Command A, Command U. So here I'm playing what's known as a Phrygian scale. Okay, I'm going up a semitone. This is a technique that I personally learned during the G House days back in 2016, 2017, when G House was a thing with Mala and Chami, you know, and the Confessions label and stuff. I don't know if they're still going strong, but you know, that's where I kind of learned to do that, and also with Big Room. It's very easy to do. Boom. So here we have this empty gap. Now, I want to present to you guys the idea of this, okay? We're going to use this thing called the bass clef washout, which in essence is just a reverb and echo and I believe like an auto filter. We can look at it. Grain delay, auto filter. Yeah, it's a lot, bro. It's a good ingredient there. And I'm going to present this idea to you, right? So we're going to go envelope, washout, modulation. If you want to have that swell, then you need to have the space for it. You can't fill that up anymore. And you notice that the good thing with Odd Mob that he does and Omnom is They respect space so that they can do stuff like this. Oh yeah. I want to add a shaker, and as you work on music, you will also get ideas, and that's the beautiful thing. I believe writer's block is a myth, or I choose to tell myself that so I go to sleep nicely. But the reason for that is writer's block is definitely like a negative mindset. You feel lost, and the reason is that usually when you're making music, you set expectations for yourself that hinder you. What this means is you might go like, for instance, right now I'm making something like Odd Mob, and I want to make a YouTube video entitled How to Make a Drop Like Odd Mob. But if somewhere through the creative process, I choose to do something different than him, then I judge it myself, and then my creativity just goes to shambles because of that. So usually when people suffer from writer's block is because they're forcing themselves to make stuff they're not inspired to make. And if you want to make stuff like Odd Mob, then what you have to do is you have to flow, and at one point trust what your brain or what your subconscious is wanting you to do. Okay, so I want a shaker. I did that whole speech because I want a shaker. Just a basic one. These are a little too flavorful on the sides. I mean, that might work because it has a flange on it. And now I want to add a bit of an atmosphere. So, you know, atmosphere is one of those things that's very difficult in a song because you got too much, or which one do you need for the vibe? So I think what I'm going to do is just do this. I'm going to grab noise. I'm going to have that playing all time. C3 range like this. And then just find something that comes stock with Serum. Like I haven't explored some of these, so why don't we try that? Just go and explore some of the H breaths. Can make it wide. Let's EQ it out. Oh yeah. We need reverb on those leads. Okay, so we've reached a part of the song where I'm a little bit like, you know, I'm getting the writer's block. So how do I get out of it? Well, we can start to just go through stuff like maybe adding some loops here and there. Put that in D sharp. And then I'll show you guys another thing too that we can do. We go down to, that's F, E. Okay, so decide to make that work. Plus 12 is 10. And let's see if we lower this. Oh, no, not that. We go clip, gain. I wish it would land there by default. And then have this guy here. Vroom. Or maybe back down -2. I think that -2 might work. Here. And then let's see if we can grab here. and pull it to gate. And then let's apply maybe something interesting, like a texture. Okay. Now from here, I like to sometimes go on Splice or Loop Cloud. And this is where I love these systems because, you know, for instance here, if I have an idea, maybe I can put in something like vocal chops, right? I feel like we could use those. But now I can set the key of this if I open up Splice, Bridge, and go. Put this in D sharp, E flat, and then hear it with it. And I'm like, a vocal would definitely fill this up really good. This one's cool. So one of the cool things with Splice is now I can click here and copy and paste that over there so that it's in the modified format, right? So now I have this vocal here, and vocal's sick because of the way it says what it says. Okay. But let's not be the people that just drop a, like a loop and let it play out. Let's kind of cut out portions of it. People in the back. Just use that. People in the back. People in the back. People in the back. People in the back. Time for the people in the back. Time for the people in the back. One 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 time for the people in the back. And then I have an idea with that lantern melody we just did. So this is getting to a point where it's starting to get filled up, right? And when I decided to make this video, I was like, okay, I'm going to make it and try and copy Odd Mob. But I'm doing my own thing now because when you try and sound like someone else, again, writer's block will entail as you judge yourself on how good you sound like them. But we can do it inspired by Omnom. So F it. Tech Cow's inspired by Omnom tutorial there. Odd Mob. So that's some rights. Just try and fill this up as much as we can. And then we can start to arrange it a bit. Oh, yeah, bro. So let's see. Let's be a little creative and use something out there that's very wild out there. We can just grab the open hat. This guy here, we're going to use a plugin called Micro Shift to widen it. Don't be scared to use presets. Like I said before, don't fall into the mindset that most people do. Like, no, I gotta do everything myself. If you can find something good, use it, man. Let's add some reverb to this. There we go. I am hearing a bit of acid shots, and I am considering removing this guy, but we'll see. But I am going to fill this up a little more. And then from there, we can kind of scope out, remove the unnecessary stuff. Essentially, we're taking a dump on it. But from here, let's go, I think Paradox 4 or 5 will have like the shots I'm looking for. I think I'm gonna have an acid shot. Back. Boom, bum, bum, bum. That. Now let's lower the rate. That's the speed. Oh yeah, and I think envelope. Oh.
One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
So let's do that. Boom, 2, 3, 4.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the...
Okay, there we go. So I think we have it filled up pretty good. So the idea here, we're just gonna hit record actually, and then from there we can you can start to arrange it out a bit. So let's just hit record and play it out.
People in the back. One time for the 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 people in the back.
8 times.
One time for the people in the back. One time for the people.
There we go. That's all I really needed. And then we can get out of that mode now and boom, boom, boom. So now we have all of this to work with, right? So this is the max idea, let's say. So now what I want to do, I'm going to highlight Command I and start to build a section out here. Now, since the vocal does play a huge role, we can start with that.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the...
And then we can start using maybe the synth loop. Now, I don't want to do what I did before with the synth loop. Now I want to use all of it for this section here, because I think it will be a dope melody to really go with here.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Yeah, and let's put it at 14. Leave.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the...
Let's get a Reese. Reese's are dope. Very friendly. Usually basic stock Reese, you can do this. Fine. Pull the play down. Boom, 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 boom.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Just like
One
that.
time for the people in the...
I'm just playing the root key, by the way, D sharp.
People in the back. One time for the...
So just creating a moment with that. But again, I want to use one of my Reese's. So I'm going to go with that just because, you know, I do a lot of the sound design for the packs, and I do use my stuff all the time, especially for things like this. All I want is just a nice Reese that sounds good. Like that, nah. I don't even know if I added a Reese to this pack. If not, okay, there we go. We can use this. Let's lower the volume though.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back.
We're gonna record that. Friggin', just one note up.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Just one note.
One time for the people in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. 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 Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back.
I know I'm doing a build-up here, so I'm just gonna hold it out.
One time for the
Let me
people
take
in
a sip of the
back.
coffee, bro.
One time for the people in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. 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 Give 'em up. One time for the people
There we go. Just Command J that. Boom, boom,
in the back. One time for
boom, boom.
people in the back. One time
I really wish the sound sounded good up here.
people in the back.
It would be sick.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the
In fact, you know what? Let's do that. Command J that. Boom. Transient mode. Boom. 16 it. Beats. 16. Force it to be my rhythm.
people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people
Oh, yeah.
in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. 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 Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back.
You wanna hear?
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the
I'm
back.
just doing the generic double timing every time.
People in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the
Wait,
people in the
so
back.
here,
Give 'em
boom.
up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time
And
for the people in the
then
back. Give 'em up.
boom, boom.
One time for the
And then we do that.
people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
It'll sound different once we get to it.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Okay, and then we're just gonna Command I this across. Boom. And we have
People in the back.
okay. So now for the build-ups. if you want to make a standard build, I'll teach you guys. In Dominator, I did put like these builds I made for you guys that get kind of like crazy, but also simple. But I'll teach you guys the basics of making the more traditional one, which is just using a 909 kit. There's various different kinds of 909 kicks. I really like the samples from Mars one. They did a great job with that. Lots of flavor there. So we're just going to create essentially a snare roll. However, I like to do snare rolls a bit different. I like to feel it, you know, because music is felt. If you make music and you're trying to be super like ruley about it, you're gonna make boring stuff. So feel it. What feels right to you? So this is what I mean, right? Usually most people, they'll do a 16 roll with the snare. That's the logical choice. So what if it did something like, and then it just starts to get right? We can go that way, or we can go the generic way, which is just a 16. So I usually, when I'm working on music that I care about, I will do that. I will record myself playing it. Confirm here, Command J. Boom, boom, Command U. Okay, now 16 roll, generic. Dance. Okay, let's add the atmosphere too here. I'm also going to add some rides. Let's do that. Remember that acid shot we did? We can use it here. It needs to be a little more atmospheric. So let's see. We can just add reverb and echo to the... There is a mod. So now we need to create a bit of tension and release here. So there's a lot there, but what I mean by that is an up, essentially like an up and a down to transition out of that break. So let's do that. I like the idea of something like that. That's very bold, by the way. You can maybe grab it. Grab this, doom B, reverse it. R. I believe you can do it with R. Let's see. Warp, hit the R. I remember there was a way to reverse it like that, bro. But it's not late. Maybe it has to be warp to reverse. Reverse. Where's the reverse? Man, I swear, man. Oh, I'm in key mode, my bad. R. Boom. There we go. And as this guy here starts doing its thing, we're just gonna... Yep. It's just the bass clef washout. We'll do something. You can have this part here, like Command A. I want to see. Maybe you could do something dope, bro. Just a little, not a fake out drop, but like, or it might be that, but I don't know. We need it. One time for the people in the back. One time for the...
people in the back. One time for the
We're gonna hit the wobble bass. Yeah, brother.
people in the back. One time for the 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 people in the back.
I'm gonna ramp this Command J. And we're gonna ramp this down. Sometimes doing tutorials is hard, man. Like I'm all trying to slow down and explain everything, but hopefully watching helps a bit as well. It's going down. Put the EQ in front. This is called signal flow, and the reason is that I can always have this up my sleeve too. The low end on the Reese needs to go away as well, so we're gonna do that because if we don't get rid of it, it's gonna make the drop sound weak. Most of the presets I make, I'm always thinking about the producer, so always checking for mods to see if there's anything dope to do with it. Oh yeah! Dope. Shut it off. I just wanna...
People in the back. One time for the
You got it.
people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the
Claps.
back. One time for the people in the back.
Seem logical to do.
One time for the people in the back. 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 One time.
Vocals need to be more louder.
One time for the people in the back. 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 One time for the
That's so bad, but whatever. You get the idea.
one time for the people in the back. One time for the
I have an idea there, so
one time for the
like keep that going. So we would do that,
one time for the people in the back. One time for the
and then just keep it going up, so that it kind of fades out into oblivion and then comes back in. Boom.
one time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Because of the signal flow.
One time for the
Okay, cool. So now we got that idea.
people in the back. One time for the 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 people in the back. One time.
We need an impact. We need all that good stuff. So we're just missing a lot of that. So let's add something. Yeah, let's just be crazy with it.
One time for the people in the back. 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 One time for the
And then let's add more. Add the basics. I need something smaller. Wiggle Town.
people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in
A little too, yeah. I don't feel we're good.
one time for the people in the back. One time.
Maybe use that there.
One time for the people in the back.
If not, cashmere sweeps are legit.
One time for the people in
Well, it's like, what's missing in the pack? Crash, reverse crash. Maybe just use that and reverse the crash. Boom, like that. Command 4 if you want to.
one time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the
Yeah, and then the FM is still going there, so that makes it feel rather dull. So we'll see what we do, but let's add the crash then. And I apologize if I'm being a little dirty, But when I'm in a writing process, I'm not being all clean like you see people. In fact, I think most artists aren't. Like everyone's just getting the idea down. I'm getting inspired as I work and I'm just putting stuff down. We need a stereo one. Wide because the center image is kind of filled. Again, just lowering volume down and stuff. Let's add an altar boy, pitch that vocal up. I'm gonna quiet that down a bit. We can bring it up here to like back up. Right click, edit 0. If you want to do something like that, that's also valid, but you have to set it up properly, right? So we got that. Just cutting out some lows. Cut it all. In fact, we can cut out some more lows on the break here. Get him up. I think we ended there. Get him up. Don't worry, like right now everything's all over the place. Again, you just fine tune later. I'm like, yeah, dude, like the vocal. I like the idea of pitching up, but okay, right here, let's make a riser together. Making risers is very easy. Obviously, there's a skill to it. But if you must, and you have everything in sync, it's fairly easy. So this is usually how I make them. Well, this is the entry level one that I make all the time for every pack. And then from there, you know, you can start to get it a little bit more complicated. But this track feels like you just need something simple. So put D sharp, the root key, pull all the way to the right. We're gonna add unison. Quiet it. I'm gonna filter. You can go band pass, you can go any high pass, whichever you want. I think I'll go high pass for this. And then we're just gonna do this. We know all of this needs to last 16 bars. So we set a 16 bar rate. Like so. Pull to the right. Cutting the lows from the left to the right. And we're also going to bring this up slowly. We can start somewhere here and bring the volume up. And then from there, we can add a sync or we can pitch the frequency up. It's really up to you. Oh, and this is 8 bars, sorry. Oh yeah. Now let's, as I work here, I'm like hearing stuff. There's a lot to do, but here I just want to add flavor to the snare. volume of the snare as well can come up slowly. Get him up. Let's add that bass clef washout on the vocal as well, just a bit. I'll kick K2 away. Boom, 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 boom. Let's get the atmosphere in there. And some of the drums. Oh yeah, let's go. Lower that. Exclusive and high feedback so that it keeps just creating. Let's get it. And yeah, something like that. Stereo. 16 it. Use a filter. So now I'm looking at the vocal, trying to get the ending of it, because I feel like we're going to need it to go into the drop. Just to reintroduce. And then a bit of white noise. Up. Maybe we could do that where... Let's go with 1/8. 1/4. Sounds cool too. Get him up. Yeah, let's just get it right there. Get him up. There it is. Fire. Yeah, I don't know if we can drop it the vocal, but and I think we can probably last a little longer. Command I that across. Boom. Damn, bro, what the hell are we doing here? Let's get it.
People in the
I hope you guys are learning some cool stuff that you can do as well as we do this, by the way. That's my goal. It's a little messy.
people in the back, give 'em up. One time for people in the back, give 'em up. People in the back, give 'em up.
Drum fill. Let's add a drum fill real quick. We're almost there. Let's start to do some fun stuff with it. I might have to go to 5. We need short ones. Just do that, bro. It's so off, but
People in the back, give 'em up.
oh, holy shit. Yeah, that works. Just grab that.
People in the back, give 'em up. People in the back, give 'em up.
So if you want to do similar DJ effect, you bring up this.
People in the back, give 'em up. People in the back, give 'em up.
You can hit this here together and record that.
One time. One time. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back, give 'em up. People in the back, give 'em up. One time for the people in the back.
Now we have it recorded.
Back, give 'em up. People in the back, give 'em up.
And now we can start to fill this out. So let's add like a downlifter. I need a noise one, so I'm gonna go to Deceiver 6 and see if I can get something dope from there. Let's try the tongue ripper one.
One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back, give 'em up. People in the back, give 'em up. People in the back. One
We're gonna
time
cut
for the
this a
people in the
bit.
back, give 'em up. People in the back, give 'em up. People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the
Now we could start to kind of arrange that. So we could probably use the melody here too if we wanted to.
back. One time for the people in the 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 back.
Just to foreshadow it.
For the people in the back. One time for the people
But it gets a little too messy, right? So maybe that's not the right call.
in the back. One time for the people in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the
We'd probably have to get rid of this if we want to do it.
back.
Which I don't think it's wise, but you'll see it works.
One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back.
So it can work like that. And that's the hard thing about music. Sometimes you have to make choices like this where you're like, oh, which one do I want? So we're just going to do this.
One time for the people in the back, give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back, give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back, give 'em up.
Whoa.
People in the back, give 'em up.
Oh, man. Let's go.
People in the back, give 'em up. One time for the people in the back, give 'em up.
slow. I'll do it there.
People in the back, get 'em up.
I feel like the drop works, but we need a lot more. So what I'm going to do is make a new channel of vocal atmosphere, because it feels like we need the vocal in this, but it's just not, like, it's not possible to put it because it sounds kind of boring if I just do this. And there might be a way to arrange everything so that it makes sense. You know, that's what you got to figure out sometimes. And that's one of the hardest things about music.
People in the back, get 'em
Got to
up.
work at it.
People in the back. One time for people in the back.
So what I'm thinking about doing is having the vocal, people in the back, but people in the back, but people in the background. Like just there. Again, we have another channel for the vocal stuff.
People in the back, get 'em up. People in the back.
Boom.
People in the back.
There's a tool I like to use called Tantra. Sometimes I'll just throw stuff at it like that to see if it gives me anything interesting. Atmosphere, texture, gate. So I'm going to use it here before the kickstart so that we get the sidechain on it. But from there, I really just like going through the presets. Oh yeah, this one helps. And it gives ideas too. Let's say you don't like the way it sounds, at least it's giving you some concepts. Let's cut it so that we get more of the highs. It's so good.
One time for the people in the back. 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 Get 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the
I'm gonna have the kick do it too.
people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Get 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Cut the low end out of the kick.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Get 'em up. One time for the people in the back. 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 Get 'em up. People in the back. Get 'em up.
Here we're gonna have a 8-bar fill like this. Cut the lows out. Gotta automate that up.
People in the back. One time for the people.
Yeah, and the vocal can go back in there. Makes sense.
One time for the people in the back. Get 'em up. People in the back. Get 'em up.
I feel like we need more help there, so we're gonna add this.
People
Put
in
the
the back.
lows.
Get 'em up.
I'm still not a fan of this shot. So let's get rid of it. Don't be scared. Don't be clingy. Just delete if you have
People
to.
in the back. Get 'em up.
Here, I'm going to duplicate that because I want to create an accent here because we're going to have... Because that's 8 bars, and then we go to the next part.
People in the back. What?
So an accent's super dope because we can emphasize something there. Let's see, it might be a sick lead.
people in the back. One time for the people in the
Let's grab that. Put the bass clef one that we're using here, so that way we get that nice swell.
people in the back. One time for the people. People in the back. People in the. People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Get 'em up. People in the back. People in the back. Get 'em up. People in the back. Get 'em up. For the people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Yeah, let's watch that vocal. It's a little too loud now, so just moving all over the place here. No organization. It's all good.
People in the back.
It's right here.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. People in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Oh, that's weird. Melody, or what's an idea there too?
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Get 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Get 'em up. One time for the people in the back. People in the back. One time for the people in the back. Get 'em up.
Bring this in.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Get 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Oh yeah.
One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Get 'em up. One time for the
And it's just removing stuff, right? Like you can do something here.
people in the back. Get 'em up. One time for the
We can even use this again, like if you wanted to. If you wanted to, like just grab that.
in the back. In the back. Get 'em up. One time for the people in the back. One time. One time. One time for
Line that up.
time for the people in the back. Get 'em up. One time for the back. People in the back. Get 'em up.
Oh yeah.
In the back. Get 'em up. People in the back. One.
And let's just grab some of the effects that we're missing.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Put a crash.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Give me that reverse. Could fit here.
People in the back. Get 'em up.
Man, we need so much reverb on that lead. It's not even funny, bro. I think, it's like, I don't want to. yeah. Let's just add it, bro. I feel like it's just this needs to come
Get 'em
out.
up.
Yup.
People in the back. One time for the people in the back. People in the back. One time for the people in the back.
Here, maybe we can elongate. And then climax it.
People in the back. People in the back. One time for the people in the back.
To switch to a new section. Boom. Legato mode here.
People in the back.
Again, we can activate like LFO tool or Tantra to help us do something cool there. I just like going through presets again. If I can find something cool, if not, it's all good.
One time for the people in the back. One time. People in the back. One time for the people in the back. People in the back.
Uh-oh.
One time for the people in the back. People in the back. One time for the people in the back. People in the
can also remove stuff, but I feel it might be a little too drastic.
One time for the people in the back. People in the back. People in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. One time for the people in the back. Give 'em up. One time for the people in the back. People in the back. Give 'em up.
I'll just end it here. The dude just saw me flow and get an idea out that somewhat resembles the Odd Mob, Omnom stuff, mainly more of like that remix Odd Mob did of Sean Paul's track. But you get the idea here. A lot of it comes down to being more minimalistic with drums, but being a little bit more melodic and caring more about the sound design of the track. Now, if I were to like keep working on this, what I would personally do is lower down the reverbs that I've added. On headphones, they sound dope, but usually when I go back on speakers, I'll hear the reverb and go like, yeah, that's a little too much. The other thing too is work more on like these sounds. Like for instance, this one is not something I would leave personally. Or the beginning one. I mean, it's cool, but it still needs maybe support or a lot more stuff to go with. But time is limited, guys, and I just wanted to kind of provide a video to show you guys a bit of the workflow of how you can kind of create something. Hopefully it helps in shining a bit of light to the way you want to be working. Remember, don't be prideful. Grab from wherever you can to create the stuff you want. And that's about it. But if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to support the channel, you can find all of my sound design work at evilsounds.com. And I'll catch you guys next time for another video. Take care. Peace.